Hey guys, today I have multiple stories for you. The first is going to be about a DM who allowed her ex-boyfriend to stay in her campaign and regretted it. The second story is about a bard who honestly tried to play a very good character that had a very crappy party, including the GM. And the third story is about some milk. So I'm a relatively new DM. I'm hosting a homebrew campaign right now, and it's going quite well. I started this with 4 of my good friends and my then boyfriend, now ex. We broke up last month, and it was a clean breakup. We stayed friends, so I said he could keep coming. Now I can see that that was an extremely naive decision of mine, but that's not the point. This ex sort of lacks social skills at times. He can be extremely rude to my friends, thinking it's a funny joke, when actually just cringy or borderline rude. And, as it turns out, he decided to push this behavior onto me. I don't enjoy it when phones are out when we play, so I request people don't stare at their phones while we play, and I personally think that this is a reasonable request. But he didn't think so. The entire game, he played songs on his phone, went on Reddit, showed other players memes while they were trying to play, meaning he was interrupting them, and I had to ask him every 5 minutes for a 4.5-hour session, and I either got an eye roll or a no. He also continued to talk over everyone while we tried to roleplay constantly. I have one friend he has this weird relationship with, and she couldn't get a single play in because he would not shut up and stop talking over her. This upset her a lot, because the roleplay is her favorite part, and she was on a roll with solving clues last session and wanted to continue. I personally have pretty severe ADHD, and I'm adjusting to some new meds, but the talking over people while I'm trying to DM is extremely hard, and very overwhelming. I decided to call a break because I was getting so frustrated and starting to get an awful headache. He decided that the break was a perfect time to rub my parents' new divorce in my face in front of everyone, and then I decided to end the entire session for the night because everyone there got upset by this. And on top of it all, he refused to leave my house even after everyone was going home. He found a guitar in my house and wouldn't stop playing. And my friend, whom of which I asked to stay until he left because I didn't want to be left alone with him, obviously, had to force him to call an Uber to leave. Needless to say, he will not be coming back, and his character was written out the next morning after I slept off the migraine he gave me. And in case anyone gives me crap about second chances, this was his 3rd chance to play properly, because all he does is fight with other players and attempt to do the nasty with NPCs, which I asked him not to do for 4 sessions. Well guys, that's the end of the first story. I don't think I've ever heard a single story of a DM allowing an ex to be in their campaign ending in anything but bad things. It's generally a very poor idea. I wouldn't suggest it. But your mileage may vary. But in any case, on to the next story. I joined a Discord group and was brought into a campaign with a handful of other players. I rolled up a bard whose backstory was that he traveled with adventurers and used their adventures as a basis for his series of kids' books he was writing. I gave my backstory to the DM, and it was approved. Nothing in Session 0 led me to believe that there was going to be any issue with my character after explaining it to the group. Session 1 comes, and while the party is gathering supplies, I head to the library in town, and the DM describes it as a rather run-down establishment that has very few books. I offer the librarian some copies of my books for free so the kids in town have something for their parents to read to them. The librarian is thankful, and I leave. As I get back to the party, my character explains what I've been up to, and a few members of the party make a remark about how I'm setting up bait with the books to lure children to me so I can do the bard thing, implying that I wanted to seduce them. I explain out of character that my character would never do that, and that I find jokes like that to be utterly tasteless. I ask them to please refrain from accusing my character of child abuse again, and try to move past it. I get the cold shoulder from the group for the remainder of the session. At this point, I realize that I'm probably going to have to just leave and find another group. But then the DM decides to really cement that idea for me. We return from our brief encounter out of town a few hours later, and the DM describes parents with their children pulling their kids away and going into nearby buildings as they see me. Then the guards come to question me under suspicion that I have inappropriate intentions toward the children of the town. The DM had decided to run with the party's terrible joke, and made me out to be a sexual predator in the eyes of the law. The party all bust out laughing. I just say, thanks for the game, and then leave the server and block the players and DM. It really sucks too, because I was looking forward to taking the adventure we went on and actually trying to do what my character would do and write up a children's story about it. Although I suppose there's always next time, right? Well, I have to say, I'm pretty taken aback by this. I think it speaks full lexicon's worth of information about what type of people these were. It's really unfortunate that the OP had to deal with this, but at the very least it didn't last very long. I can't think of anything else to say that would keep this at a PG-13 level. Just, those are some really crappy players. But, on to the next story. A slightly different story, but perhaps enjoyable for you all still. Let me begin. I'm a DM's wife. You need it? And I'll provide it. Dice? I gotcha. Pen? Pencil? Take your pick. A plate for your food? No problem. My husband wanted to introduce a few of his close friends and myself to D&D. Specifically, the Lost Mines of Phandelver, as my first official campaign. Anyways, partway through our campaign, my husband decided to introduce another friend to the party, Ken, which is a fake name here. He took a while to get used to the dice rolling and character form. We all took our time at the beginning, so no big deal at first. Then this past session, he really annoyed me. He shows up wearing a shirt that says, Master Bader, which is cringy, but okay. This is probably his 5th session with us, and every single rule he had to ask what to do. What one? And what do I add to that? He constantly wouldn't pay attention, so when we would be in the middle of battle, he would ask what was happening. Now on to the title. He proceeded to go into my kitchen and get a big glass of milk. Twice. Drinking all of it. It sounds stupid, but he drank almost 1.5 liters of milk. 2 liters is almost $5 in Canada, where I live. Oh, and did he ask? No. He also proceeded to eat our cheese, which also is not cheap, without asking. And who knows what else. This is just what I noticed after. Now don't get me wrong. If you want anything, I'll be more than happy to assist. Tea, coffee, hot chocolate, juice. That's all fine. Hungry? We have popcorn and chips most of the time. It just annoys me so much that he treated the last session as a joke, then stole our food without asking. And the cherry on top of the cake? He was leaving with my husband for a guys' meetup that night after the session. So guess who had to go almost the entire weekend without milk? My husband is thankfully amazing and got me some. Thankfully, our campaign is almost over, but next time I'm going to ask he does not join. Well guys, what can I say except this one seems a little bit petty compared to a lot of the stories I have done. If the guy eating your food bothers you, just tell him not to, and if he keeps doing it, say he's not welcome into the house. Talk to your spouse about this. If it bothers you that much, you should really bring it up to the person who wants them there, you know? But in any case, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have a story that you'd like me to narrate, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.